Hey guys, Josh here, CrossFit Rema, talking Monday's workout again, and before that we're going to talk pacing. Last week we talked about rate of perceived exertion and the importance at which to adjust that with your stress level. So if you're really stressed, that means your rate of perceived exertion or how hard you push needs to go down, and if you're really just good to go, then your rate of perceived exertion can go up. But this week we're going to talk about pacing. It's critical when we talk about pacing in every workout, but some workouts more than others. For instance, a 21:15:9 that's intended to be really fast, there's not so much as a pace that goes to that other than really fast. It needs to be set up in that you get on it and the reps are even descending so that you can keep going even though you are getting tired. And if the weight's not scaled appropriately or the movements aren't chosen correctly, then that workout can't really exist in time and space appropriately. But let's say we get to something like today, which is 5 rounds. We should not be hitting the first round in like 1:10, and then the second round in like 4, and then having at the end of the day, whatever that may be, trying to survive a workout. That's not really how it works. And now is the perfect time to be able to practice pacing. So if I was gonna get into a workout, and let's say that my target was 14 minutes, well, if I did the first round of that, and let's say a minute, and then I stretched out all the other rounds to make that 14-minute time cap, and then somebody else next to me did all of the rounds in equal measure, they would have gotten a better workout even though we finished at the same time. And it's critical to think about that because it's the energy system that you're working within, and the programming is meant to have you going through all of them, not always starting out at the very top and then surviving. Do that long enough and you'll eventually hate what you do. Okay, so let's get into our warm-up. Our first warm-up for Monday is going to be a quad to a T-spine. It's a rotation. Then we're going to jump into a cyclist squat. Then we're going to get into a supine shoulder push-up. So if you watch, my first piece is going to start out down at the bottom, quadruped position. I'll go with one hand on, not yanking down, rotate to the down arm, open up. So again, I rotate to the down arm, and then when I open up, I'm also rotating the arm. So I rotate inwards as I go down, I externally rotate as I go up, so internally rotate, externally rotate, so on and so forth. I will do 5 of those per side for that first round. And coach may call out a different number if he sees something else going on. Just make sure you're not yanking on your neck the whole time. Okay, my next piece, cyclist squat. So a cyclist squat can be a couple of different things. Usually it means that you put your feet really close together. I'll give my cameraman a little bit of a 45 angle, and then I go all the way down. I'm trying to keep a really close stance squat. Now, it could be beneficial if I can hike my heels up on something. This is about 1/2 inch of mat, and that automatically makes it a little easier. If you can't stay upright, if you can't keep your feet down, if you can't achieve the normal depth of your squat, put something underneath of your heels. That will be a true cyclist squat. You should feel it. Load the knees. Go slowly, and that's one of the recovery pieces we can use for the knees. Okay, and then my last piece, I'm gonna be here into like a table position, and then I'm gonna go up into the shoulder and then back down. Up into the shoulder and then back down. So this is your shoulder push-up, but now I'm facing the ceiling instead of facing the ground. So if you see I'm really letting my shoulders kind of relax, my hips are up a little, and then I drive up, back down, drive up, back down. That's gonna be my warm-up. So for my strength portion, I know it's really, really simple, but I'm gonna go through some planks. My first one is 20 seconds plank. My next one, 20 seconds side plank. Then my next one, 20 seconds, other side plank. So again, 20 seconds in plank, 20 seconds side plank, 20 seconds the other side plank. Doesn't really matter if you want to do tall or short. It's kind of a wrist thing for most of us. Choose which one feels a little bit better, but it's also challenging. And then after those, I get into 60 seconds wall sit. I'll go right here. Not a lazy wall sit. In fact, I prefer to be at about parallel. I feel like that's the hardest. If I was super strong, I'd probably have like a sandbag or something, and I don't know, maybe I can get super fancy, do one leg for 30. I'm not sure I could do that. Maybe it's just because this thing's weird, but you get the idea. And I do 60 seconds of that. I'll pass through those 4 rounds. There's gonna be no rest or transition in there. The coach will call it out for you. So for our workout, we have 5 rounds of 14 jump squats, 12 pass-throughs, and we're not talking about the pass-through that you do during circle time that like takes out your buddy beside you with the PVC pipe. We're talking about something different, and we're gonna go over that, and you will need a little bit of equipment for that. And then we're talking about a 100-meter lunge, and we'll talk about roughly how long that takes if you don't have your own personal 100-meter course set up at your house. Okay, so let's go right into our jump squat. This is gonna be pretty simple. I've already primed the position. I'm just all the way down, and if I can, I add a little bit of light underneath of my feet at the bottom, but the jump is irrelevant if the squat is not pristine. We're always working the points of performance on my squat, which is feet at shoulder width, a little bit beyond shoulder width, toes slightly turned out, feet stay on the ground, and then I keep all the other points of performance, which is a tight lower back curve, tight midline, knees are out, I can see my big toe, which is planted onto the floor, chest is pointed forward, and then again, if I have all of those met, I jump at the top. Okay, now my pass through sort of gets a little bit different. I need either 2 chairs, 2 stools, 2 sets of really thick books. And I've chosen our 17th century benches that we have over here. And this is what my pass through is gonna look like. The first thing I set up is the width of the pass through, and I use this cubit right here. And I'm pretty good. So that's gonna be a pretty good position for me. It's about the distance of my fingers with my forearm. That feels good for me. I get a sturdy grip and then I get into an abject plank position. Then I'm gonna get tight at the midline, pass all the way through by lifting my feet up, come into extension. It's real important that I get to extension, and that's why we practiced that piece earlier. And then I pick my feet up, and I'm back in position. That is a pass-through, and you may have seen other versions of that. A shoot-through is where I would add in a dip and a push-up. It is a pass-through, and I count that as one only when my feet return back to where they began. Okay, now my last piece, let's just watch what the lunge looks like. So if you watch in lunge position, okay, I'm gonna take a step. Hopefully I'm in a 90-degree angle when I take a step about my knees. So I'm not way back here, but more 90-90. I'm gonna do that for 100 meters. That takes about 2 minutes. So if I don't have that marked out, I would probably lunge out a minute and then come back. And then that will be my workout for 5 rounds. And again, time that first round. If that first round, somehow I get that done in 2.5 minutes, but then every round thereafter takes me 5.5, I need to adjust. Cool down, you guys have seen the couch stretch. It's probably one that the majority of us need to do more often. So think of it like this. We can do all the plank stuff that we did today, but if my quads are really tight and they're pulling my hips in a really weird position, it doesn't really matter how much ab stuff I do if the rest of my body's preventing me from getting into a good position. So this helps open up the quads. Now, a lot of us have a hard time getting into this, so you can use a couch. I mean, that's kind of why it's named that, and you don't have to get on the ground, and there's less chance of cramping. But let's say that I do have the ability to get to the ground. There's a little trick to be able to get into that, saying, I'm gonna stretch my left side, my left leg, so I put my left leg close to that wall. That's kind of piece number one. And again, the quicker I can get into this, the better it's gonna be in terms of trying to activate or cramping. So what I'll do from here, I'll drop that left leg down as close to the wall as I can get. Then all I have to do is go forward, and I'm already in my position. There wasn't any of that kind of weird stumbling around that gets me to cramp. Now, after I have that, I try to have the foot as close to the wall as I can. I try to squeeze the glutes on the side that's down, and I try to lift up and act like a stoic Buddhist. Buddhists aren't stoics, they're different things. Whatever, do this.